Hello, brothers and sisters, and welcome to Temple 420 Bible Study number 8. Going through probably Genesis 12 and 13. We'll see how far that gets here. So far, it's just me here today. And if anybody ever wants to, you can follow our socials. And I say it every time. I want to keep trying to get this out in a better format so everybody can join. If people find me on Facebook, you can always ask me or follow me there. And it's always there and usually on our Facebook page, but I need to update that to give us a public one so more people could follow it and get into it, because right now it's kind of set up as a private one at that. Anyways, thank you for coming and watching Bible study number 8. I'll start off here with a prayer for everyone. Dear Almighty Yahweh, Hashem, Creator, Lord, thanks for all the things you give us and bringing us here today. Give us understanding and message, information about the message so that people can take it down and consider it in their selves and make it reasonable to them. Help them in their pursuit and encouragement and studying the Bible. And thank you for giving us what you give us and taking care of us. And bless us through this study. Amen. Anyways, this week, as we go through Bible study here, we continue through and go into it succinctly. So anybody who wants to listen to the Bible or go through the Bible with somebody has the full opportunity with these. This is the call to Abram. I'll do it in the complete Jewish Bible here, unless anything gets too crazy. And I might jump back and forth to get us more clarity, as I feel needed to here. Now, Adonai, Hashem, Yahweh, whichever way you want to take that name. I sometimes move it around as I believe they're all expressions of him and they show appreciation and of his person. Said to Avram, who is Abraham, go yourself out of the country, away from your kinsmen and away from your father's house, and go into the land that I will show you. I'll make of you a great nation. I will bless you, and I will make your name great, and you are to be a blessing. And I will bless those who bless you, but I will curse those who curse you, and by all the families of the earth will be blessed. Oftentimes, where they refer to and say that's specifically speaking about Israel and the basis with being blessed with Israel. Sometimes, not to bring politics into it, I wonder though, with the state of it, I take it more as the people of Abraham, because I don't always back what Israel's doing and let God pick the details of that for them. But I do support the nation and the people who are of the family of Abraham and respecting them. So Abraham went as Adonai said to him, and Lot went with him. Abraham was 75 years old when he left Haran. Abraham took his wife Sarai, his brother's son Lot, and all of their possessions which they had accumulated, as well as the people that they had acquired in Haran. They set out for the land of Canaan. That's right there. It says Canaan KGV. Yep, Canaan. And entered into the land of Canaan. Abraham passed through the land to the place called Shechem, to the oak of Morah. And Canaan, the Canaanites were in the land. Let's see what 12:6 says. That's here. Abraham passed in the land into the place of Shechem, into the plain of Morah, and the Canaanite was then in the land. And then Adonai appeared to Abraham and said, until thy seed I will give this land. And there he builded an altar unto the Lord who appeared unto him. And he removed from thence into a mountain of the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west and Hai on the east. And there he builded an altar unto the Lord, and he called upon the name of the Lord. And Abraham journeyed, going on still to the south. And there was famine in the land, and Abraham went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. And it came to pass when he was come near enter Egypt, he said to his Sarai his wife, behold now, I know that thou art a fair woman to look upon. Therefore it shall come to pass, when the Egyptians shall see thee, that they shall say, this is his wife, and they shall kill me. But they will save thee alive. I pray to thee that thou art my sister, and that it may be well for me and my sake, so thou that may live because of thee. That's when I need to go into complete Jewish Bible here, because it gets me with the old King James and the way they say with it. This makes it make more sense to me. I'll start just at 12:10 just to catch up and clear some of that up. But there was a famine in the land, so Abraham went into Egypt to stay there, because the famine in the land was severe. When he came close to Egypt and was about to enter, he said to his wife, Sarai, his wife, here, I know now that you're a good-looking woman, so that when the Egyptians see you, they will say, this is his wife, and kill me, but keep you alive. Please say that you are my sister, so that it'll go well with me for your sake, and so that I will stay alive because of you. When Abraham entered Egypt, the Egyptians did notice that the woman was very beautiful. Let it take off my screen. Hit it here. Sorry. Pharaoh's princes saw her and commented to the Pharaoh. So the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. He treated Abraham well for her sake, giving him sheep, cattle, male and female donkeys, male and female slaves, and camels. But then Adonai inflicted great plagues on Pharaoh and his household because of Sarai, Abraham's wife. Pharaoh called Abraham and said, what is this that you've done to me? Why didn't you tell me that she was your wife? Why do you say that she is my sister, so that I took her on to be my own wife? Now, therefore, here is your wife. Take her and go away. So Pharaoh gave orders concerning to his men, and took him on his way with his wife and everything that he had. When I was reading with the Perry Stone commentary on this too, it said that they believe also that Abraham wasn't exactly lying, that she was his half-sister, but then God was preserving for the nation of the nation of Israel to be born from him when he has his kid and is the father of Israel, that he was saving there, which makes sense with the way it goes with that. And sounds like always a weird reason to say that to me, but I can kind of understand if that was a half truth, that might be something that would come up. If that's something that's allowed and would go at the time. To me, it's a weird relationship, almost as a half sister, but that's looking at today's uh, addressing with that. I've seen some even genetic things that say that the purity of people like 4,000 years ago would be closer, so you wouldn't have any of those, as much of those issues that you have today with genetic issues, and that's why it ends up separating and telling you later not to do that with their laws. But that's one of the deeper theories that they go into with that sometimes. And Abraham went up from Egypt, he and his wife and everything he had. And Lot went with him into the south. It says Negev in the English to the complete Jewish Bible. What that ends up being. Abraham became wealthy with much cattle, silver, and gold, and he went on his travels from the south and came to Bethel, into that place, into the place where he had set his tent in the beginning, between Bethel and Ham. It said High. I don't know which High is in this I here. When he first built the altar, which we talked about earlier, when he built the altar, and there Abraham called on the name of Adonai. Lot, who was traveling with Abraham, also had flocks, herds, and tents, but the land could not support them living together because their possessions were too great to remain together. Moreover, quarreling arose between Abraham and Lot's herdsmen, and the Canaanites and the Pazil were living in the land. Pazil, Canaanites, and the Pezerites dwelled within the land. And Abraham said to Lot, please, let's not have quarreling between me and you, or between my herdsmen and yours, since we're kinsmen. Isn't it the whole land there in front of you? Please separate yourself from me. If you go to the left, I will go to the right. If you go to the right, I'll go to the left. And then Lot looked up and saw that the whole plain of the Yarden was watered everywhere. And before Adonai destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, like the garden of Adonai, the land of Egypt, in the direction of Tozar. 13:10. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan. So that's Jordan. And it was well watered everywhere before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, the land of Egypt, as it shall come unto Zoar. And all the land you see, I will give you and your descendants forever. Wait, sorry. Did I skip something? Zoar. Sorry, guys. Yeah, Zoar was 10. So Lot chose to take the plain of Jordan for himself, and Lot traveled eastward. Thus they separated themselves from each other. And Abraham lived in the land of Canaan, and Lot lived in the cities of the plain, setting up his tent near Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were evil, committing great sins against Adonai. And Adonai said to Abraham, after Lot had moved away, look all around you from where you are, to the north, to the south, and the east. All the land that you see will be for you and your descendants forever. And I will take and make of your descendants as numerous as the specks of the dust on the earth, so that if a person can count the specks of the dust on the earth, then your descendants can be counted. Get up and walk through the length and breadth of the land, because I will give it to you. Abraham moved his tent and came to live by the oaks of Mamre, which are in Hebron, which he built an altar to Adonai. And then Abraham removed his tent, and he came to dwell in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built an altar unto the Lord. Excellent. And then, yeah, I think it would make sense here that we could go on into 14. I think this is a pretty good story with it, a pretty good length together with this. And finishes up the story. Genesis 14:1. And it came to pass in the days of Amithiel, king of Shinar. Is that time? When Amithiel was the king of Shinar, Orog, the king of Elastar. The names are so weird when they're translated over here. Orog, the king of Elastar, Childornomir, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations. They made war together against Bera, king of Solomon, and against Bersha, the king of Gomorrah. Shavar, the king of Adamah, and Samar, the king of Tavovin, and the king of Beta, which was the same as Tozavar. Shinab, the king of Adamah, and Shambar, king of Zelam, and the king of Bela, which is Zor. These were all joined together in the Vale of Siddim, which is the Salt Sea. This is where the Dead Sea is. They had served Kedora Omer 12 years, but in his 13th year they rebelled. The 14th year, Kedoma Omar and the kings came with him and defeated Rephra. What's that name here? Let's see. 14th year they came, Chedorlaomer, the kings that were with him, and smote Rephlams and the Astoreth Canaram, and the Zuvrams and Ham, and the Ems and Sneva Ataram, and the Horites and Mount Seir, into Ephraim, which is by the wilderness. They returned and came to Amosphat, which is Kadesh, and smote the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites, which dwelt in Hanmazumar. And there went out the king of Solomon, Sodom, and the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Adamoth, and the king of Zebolim, and the king of Bela, which is the same as Zor. They joined the battle in the Vale of Siddim with Kamador, the king of Elam, and with the title king of nations, and Amaphil, king of Shinar, and Arok, the king of Elzar, the 4 kings with 5. And the Vale of Siddim was full of slime pits. Let's go to 14 here. Clay pits. Interesting. Now, the Siddim Valley was full of clay pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled. Some fell into them, while the rest fled into the hills. The victors took all the possessions of Sodom and Gomorrah and their food supply, and then they left. But as they left, they took Lot, Abraham's brother's son, and his possessions, since he was living in Sodom. Someone who escaped came and told Abraham the Hebrew, who was living in the oaks of Mamre, the Morai, the brother of Eshcol, brother of Aner, and the allies of Abraham. Let's break that down a second. And they came to escape and told Abraham the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, and brother of Eshcol and the brother of Aner. These were confides with Abraham. And when Abraham heard that his nephew had been taken captive, he led out his trained men, which had been born in his house, 318 of them, and went on a pursuit as far as Dan. During the night, he and his servants divided his forces against them and attacked and pursued them all the way to Hova, north of Damascus. He recovered all the goods and brought back his nephew with the goods, together with the women and other people. After his return from slaughtering, let's see here, jump back and forth on this one here. And the king of Sodom went out to meet him after his return from the slaughter of Sindocamir. And the kings were with him at the valley of Shineveh, which is the king's dale. And Melchizedek, the king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abraham of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed be of the Most High God, which he delivered his enemies into thy hand. And he gave them him titles of all. The king of Solomon said unto Abraham, Give me the persons and take the goods for thyself. And Abraham said unto Solomon, I have lifted up my hand unto the Lord, the Most High God, the possessor of heaven and earth, that I will not take from a thread from even the Shukazat, and that I will not take anything that is thine, lest thou shouldst say, I have made Abraham rich. Save only that the young men have eaten and the portion of the men who went with me, near Azul, Mamre, and take their portion. Let's see here, anything good with this? The Melchizedek, the king of Salem, Jerusalem. This is where he runs into Melchizedek, the first high priest that's mentioned in the Bible, and what priesthood Christ is supposed to carry on. He brings out the water and the wine, and he was a God of the Most High. And he blessed Abraham and gave him a tenth of everything. But Abraham also told the king that raised an oath to Adonai, El Elyon, maker of heaven and earth, that thou shalt not take a thread or a sandal from anything that is yours, so that you won't be able to say, I made Abraham rich, so that I only take what my troops have eaten and the share of the spoil that belonged to the men that came with me. And near Eshcol and Mamre, let them have their share. That's why I read this one here, because that makes it a lot more clear to me. I couldn't understand that that's what they were saying in the King James here. Sorry, I got like snotty in my nose today. Sage. And I thought that was getting into Sodom and Gomorrah, but that's actually further up here. That's how they got to Sodom and Gomorrah, is through that exchange there. I didn't ever recognize that there was like a battle between them and he got rescued. And then that's when they got blessed by Melchizedek, which brings on the line of Christ. Well, thank you all for that reading and that study with me here today. May you all be blessed and have a good day. Thank you for all that you give us. God bless these people, and may they have a good evening and a good study with you, and you talk to them in their minds and help them understand and realize who you are and seek you out. Amen. Take care. God bless.